Hello, my name is Linda McAnany, and welcome to my show. My guest today is Carrie Tergin. Carrie is the mayor of Jefferson City, and she, as I've said before, is a very busy lady, so we're always delighted when you can fit this into your schedule. Thanks for appearing, and thanks for doing the job you're doing as mayor.
Linda, thank you for having me here.
It's my pleasure. Mayor, one of the goals that you set when you became mayor was to help the city grow through prison redevelopment. And I know you had an outstanding activity earlier this year because we talked about it.
Yes.
And it was an event that was well attended, but it's an ongoing process with regards to this redevelopment. Kind of give us an update on where we are right now.
Sure. Well, I love talking about the historic prison. First of all, the tours have increased. Our Convention and Visitors Bureau is really doing a great job. There were 26,000 people that toured last year, and this year we're up to almost 32,000. So they've seen quite an increase, a good amount of increase there in visitors and people touring the site. Also, the CVB recently moved their offices right across the street in the Marmaduke House there on Capitol Avenue, right across from the prison, and they've had thousands of people tour the prison museum, which is located there in the office. So it's a great tie-in to prison redevelopment because we already have literally thousands of people coming to that site to tour the history that we have, which is really incredible. So we want to build on that history, build on the assets that we have. You mentioned the event we had, the Inside the Walls concert, the first one ever last July. We had Travis Tritt, and it was incredible to have a big name entertainer and bring him there and have a concert on the lawn inside the walls of the prison. So we're already working on next year's. In fact, we've set a date, so mark your calendars for Saturday, July 1st. We're always going to try to do this the Saturday before July 4th weekend. So on Saturday, July 1st, we're going to have another concert inside the walls, and we're thankful for the state for allowing us to do that. It is their property, so we really are working on our partnership with the state and the fact that they're letting us do this. So it's an exciting time for Jefferson City. Recently, what's happening more on a redevelopment level is the City Council voted to enter into an engineering contract with a firm here in Jefferson City to do the engineering work, where we can work on engineering the road to access the site. So what we're talking about, what that means is Chestnut Street, which kind of leads into the prison. That would be, if you look at the prison master plan, MSP Parkway is what it's called. So we want to look at engineering MSP Parkway, which is Chestnut Street, into the site, because once you build a road, then other things can be built, because right now we just don't have good access into the site. So that engineering contract has been working on, and so it's a very exciting time there.
Absolutely. And you know, I encourage people right here in Jefferson City in central Missouri, if you've not been to the prison site or you've not visited the offices, please fit it into your schedule, because it is an amazing part of our history.
It is.
And the Convention and Visitors Bureau has done a wonderful job in not only talking about that, but all the other activities in our community. So it's a good opportunity to make that trip.
Well, and since we've talked, we also had the opening of Lafayette Interchange, which leads right to the prison. It also leads right to Lincoln University. I don't think people realize how much that opens up the east side of Jefferson City. In fact, I took it coming here today. I drive it often because it's such a great road. It's almost like it's opened an artery on the east side of town and really opened that up. So that's a $20 million project. It's a partnership that's been years in the making, because the people who really made that decision realized how important it is to access Lincoln and to access the prison for redevelopment. Because before, people would say, where is the prison? You really can't even get there from the highway. Well, now you can get there easily, exactly right off of Lafayette Street. So
it has made a major difference in traffic flow around this part of our community. And I say this part because we're here in JCTV, but with part of Lincoln University as well. The second, or one of the other issues, and not issues, but goals, was Capitol Avenue revitalization.
Yes.
And I know back in November, steps were taken to move that project along, and ultimately, what does the city want to accomplish with this project?
Our goal is revitalization of the area. Unfortunately, it has now officially become blighted. It's been a declared blighted area, meaning a lot of those homes they're unsafe, they're uninhabitable, they're falling down, they're having an increase in crime, the property values are going down, all these terrible things that are happening on some of these homes in Capitol Avenue, while right next door we have property owners that are taking the initiative to revitalize the area. So we're seeing this kind of a whole resurgence of energy and excitement in Capitol Avenue, but unfortunately there are some property owners that have allowed their properties to fall into such disrepair that there's really not a lot we can do as a city. So what we're doing is taking the only step that's really available to us, which in the end would lead to condemnation, meaning the city would purchase these properties at fair market value after they're appraised and end up retaining taking ownership of those properties. And then there would be a process to determine, because the city doesn't intend to hold on to the properties, but to get them in the hands of developers. So that's the process that we're taking, because now people say, well, if the homes are in bad shape, why doesn't somebody just buy them? But we can't do that. They're privately owned.
Right.
And an owner does have the responsibility to maintain their property. And when they don't, and the code violations happen, and the roofs start caving in, and the grass grows, and windows fall out, and everything that happens, the city has to board everything up. And the taxpayers are having to fund a lot of the work that's being done when the owner doesn't do it. So we have such a large issue and problem with that on Capitol Avenue that the council and I have really taken a stand and said, we're not going to allow this anymore. These properties are very historic, very important to our city's history, and they're very fragile. I don't know how many more winters they can take in the situation that they are in right now. So it's critical that we act, because that area within a half mile of our state capitol should never be blighted.
Right.
This is where visitors come.
That's a very important part of this whole issue, is the fact that it is very close to our capital area and very close to downtown. People coming into our community could get the wrong impression, in addition to it being unsafe and all the other things you mentioned. So
you're exactly right. And that area between the Capitol and the prison is really what we're talking about at Capitol Avenue. And the exciting thing is, even though it's been declared blighted, and some people say, oh, that's not good in our community to say we have a blighted area. Well, that blight designation really is what it is. It's blighted, and we've got to get after that.
That's right.
And that may allow certain incentives to be used for property owners to revitalize and fix up the property. So when we go through the condemnation process, our hope is that the homes aren't too far gone, that they would have to be demolished. Our hope is that somehow people can get in there and revitalize and rebuild and make those homes what they should be and what they could be as part of the history of our community.
And what they were for so many years, up to the time that they were, in essence, forgotten by the homeowner.
Yes, but we're making great progress because all the steps that have happened, the council took action and the blight study has been done, and it goes to the Housing Authority and the Land Clearance Development Authority and the Planning and Zoning Commission at the city. So people may not realize, but all these meetings are being had and work's being done. So I'm very excited to see that we can actually see where the end result is going to get us if we just keep moving through this process.
Well, I'm delighted to hear this, because I think it's been a method or a subject for many years with regards to the problems. We only have a couple of minutes before our break, but any updates on riverfront access?
Yes, in fact, I've been talking to people just this week. We're having meetings about our progress, and there's still funds that need to be raised, private funds. We're over 2/3 of the funding there. It's about a $3 million project, but we have a lot of donors in the community that have really taken an interest, which has got it going again. And it would be exciting to have a walkway from the Capitol over the railroad tracks down to the riverfront. And we're lucky to have a river, so hopefully we can access it and utilize it, and it would be a great park. And I've been down there. It's a beautiful area. and it's just stunning with the river view, the Capitol view, the trees. It's this asset that we have, and it's so close yet so far, but we're getting closer every day. We're just trying to finalize that final funding and get some private investors and private businesses involved.
Yeah, that's exciting because people have not been down on the river. They don't realize what a wonderful asset it is. So
You're exactly right.
we're going to take a break right now. When we come back, we're going to continue discussion about the opportunities for our community to grow and economically and with great character. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. My guest today is Carrie Tergin, the mayor of Jefferson City, and it's always good to have you here. And I'm going to ask you later about your job as mayor, but we'll stay on tact right now.
Sure.
Sales tax revenues are so important, and when it comes to financing the city's expenses, we all know that. As you see it, what are some of the major needs within our community that these improvements can come from these revenues?
I think one of the most important things is public safety, and we have to have a safe community or else everything else really doesn't matter. So that's always been a top priority no matter what. And we're very thankful. In this community, we have excellent police and fire protection. All of the entities work together so well for public safety, and then even the Public Works Department, because people don't often think of the public safety aspect of our public works and our infrastructure. So all of that is just critical to our community. So when it comes to making sure that it's funded within the budget, that's definitely a high priority, not just for me, but for the council. And you'll see in our many recent budgets that we've been very favorable just because it is so important to have a safe community. And so police and fire protection, there is some talk about the need for the fire station, whether it's improvements, and that was something that's in the sales tax that was...
That number 2? Fire station number 2?
Yes, and sometimes I have to think where they're at, all 5 of them in my mind of where they are. But well, there's also the need, and in this previous sales tax that was just passed, we talked about the need for some fire station improvements. And I do want to mention that this is a good time to thank the voters, because sales tax is something that we rely on greatly, and every 5 years it's renewed. We just saw a renewal this past
July.
August.
Or August,
August.
Yes.
So, and it was very favorably received because people realized the need, and a lot of that did go to the infrastructure and police and fire, like I'm mentioning here. And so just keeping the public safety up, that would be number 1. There are other infrastructure needs with the recent heavy rains that we've had over the summer. There's been a lot of talk about stormwater and what does that mean. We've seen flooding in areas that haven't been flooded before. But at the same time, you know, when you have a 50-year flood, a 100-year flood, you know, it's hard to sometimes build for that. But then we also need to look at what we can do to overcome some of that too. So council had a work session on that subject alone of what are some options for stormwater. So public safety, stormwater, a lot of those projects and priorities are very important, and public support and shopping local, because then you think, how do we get our sales tax? We're in a good position. Our sales tax numbers are favorable, so we're very happy about that. But people do need to think with every decision they make. We have the holiday season ahead, and that when people shop local, it does go back into the community. I mean, not only local jobs, but it's also how we fund our police department and fire department and our sidewalks and public safety and public works and all of these things.
And I feel very strongly about that, particularly the fact that we have a wonderful group of businesses within our community that meet almost every need. Mm-hmm. And I say that to the community. Keep in mind, when you shop locally, you're not only providing jobs, but you're also providing sales tax for wonderful infrastructure and that our community very definitely needs. So mm-hmm. that's a good point. Mm-hmm. We're very close to the end of the year. What are your thoughts about the city, and what are your goals as you look into 2017?
Well, I'm very lucky to be the mayor at this time in Jefferson City's history, because there's so much happening and coming along, such as the new rec center, the wellness center at Lincoln University. How exciting is that? It's almost complete. So right after the first of the year, we'll be celebrating that opening. It's going to be a wonderful resource for the community, for health and wellness, for the students. So wow, I mean, that's something that's been talked about for years.
That's right.
And now here it's almost complete. And looking at some of the other things that are on the horizon, such as Boys and Girls Club, which is tying in on that in the same area there with their new home. Looking at the Special Olympics Missouri, the training center that they're going to build is just going to be an example nationwide, and we're going to have it here in Jefferson City. In fact, I recently also heard a great presentation about the Ken Lanning Golf Course, which just opened last year. It's an accessible golf course across the river, and it's ranked one of the very top golf courses of its kind in the nation. And it's one of the few, probably the only of its kind, really, with the accessibility that it has. And if you haven't checked that out, I would encourage you to. People are coming from all over the state here to Jefferson City to use the Ken Lanning Golf Course. So we have all these things that are brand new, that are under construction. So what a great time to be part of Jefferson City's growth. And I'm a big advocate for looking at our resources that we are given as a city and what we already have, kind of what does Jefferson City have? And like we talked about earlier, the prison, we are the only city in the country that has a historic prison, a state capitol, and a river, all three together.
Isn't that wonderful? You know, just think, we're the only location that has that. It's
yes,
wonderful.
It is. So we've got to use those resources together, and we really can. And Capitol Avenue ties right into all three.
Sure does.
And all these other places, they all tie in to make our community stronger. It makes it a great place to live. It makes people excited about starting a business here, locating here, because they can see these projects on the horizon and all the excitement that's really just around the corner.
And by the way, I might mention, if you need more information or desire more information about our city, you can call 573-634-6304, or you can log on or visit jeffersoncitymo.gov. I encourage you to do that because there's great information, keeps it updated. It's a website of the city, and there's a lot of good information on there. So I encourage you to do that. Mayor, I'm just going to ask you, what prompted you to run for mayor?
You know, what it really boils down to is I just wanted to make Jefferson City better, and I just, in my heart, I really knew that I could do that, and I had the energy and enthusiasm to get out there and build a team and get people as excited as I am for Jefferson City and make things happen. I felt like I was on the council for 6 years, so I had a good background, but I was growing tired of the slow pace of projects that we talked about for years and not being able to get them off the ground. And why is that? And I felt like I know why. I really can get in there and make a difference and get a team and get excitement, enthusiasm. And we've started to see that momentum build, and I just want to be a part of that. Just want to make it better.
Well, and it's very evident at all the events in our community, we see the mayor. We see your enthusiasm, we see your welcoming to people, your outgoing personality. And you know, I'm amazed. I know, I've said it before, but I know how busy this lady is, in addition to the fact that she runs a business also. But it's very evident that you are, if not the #1 fan, you're darn close to being the #1 fan of our community. And it shows.
Thank you. And the mayor should be. That should be the job of the mayor, is really to be the #1 fan and to get the community excited and on board with our future and what a great city we have. And it's been very enjoyable. I've really liked being the mayor and having this opportunity. And as busy as I am as mayor, I enjoy it more and more every day. There's some wonderful things happening, and I like being an example and being a role model and being able to share and just all that comes with what a mayor should do. I've really enjoyed it so much, and seeing the potential and just really working hard and going after it and trying to make these projects happen and come to completion. And what can the city do to make it a better experience for everybody here? I mean, we are a state capital. So we're special, we're unique. I'm one of only 50 mayors that's the mayor of a state capital. So I feel like it's pretty special. And
earlier in the fall, you were able to go to our sister city in Germany and experience that togetherness.
Yes. Now, actually, we had visitors from our partner city were here in Jefferson City. So we had visitors here, and we will be going, actually, they're coming next year for the solar eclipse in August.
Good.
So our partner city, Münchberg, Germany, they will be visiting here in August of 2017 for the solar eclipse. So mark your calendars for that. And then we'll be going to Münchberg the following year, some interested citizens. But where I was China. That's where you're thinking.
That's where I was thinking.
I was in China. I'm on the board of governors at Missouri State University. We have a partnership there with some different college campuses in China. So I was fortunate enough to get to go to China with a group of about 12 of us and brought a couple students, and we got to visit Beijing and Xi'an. I got to go to the Great Wall, see the Terracotta Warriors, visited campuses where we have partnerships. So I was able to see Missouri State in action in China. And we went to Hong Kong, and everything we saw was incredible. It was an amazing trip. And to see the culture, to see how we're alike, how we're different, how big the world is, but also how small it is, and how college students are the same wherever they are. But also appreciating our differences. I think in the world today, sometimes we don't always seem to appreciate each other, but going to a place like that makes me thankful for others and their cultures, realizing our differences and being okay with it and learning from that. And then coming back here to the United States and being thankful for our freedoms, because we take it for granted, and we just wake up every day and we have our freedom, and we've got to remember to be very thankful for that and why we have it, and remember that, because not everybody does. And in China, it's a completely different system. They don't enjoy the freedoms we have here every day and the things that make our country so great. So we are very blessed and very fortunate.
You know, I often say that in order to truly appreciate what we have here is to go to other countries.
Yes.
And see the challenges that they have, the beliefs that they may not have, and the opportunities that they may not have that we just take for granted.
We do. We are so lucky here and very thankful. So anyone that has the complaints, I'll tell you, I understand that, but I don't have the tolerance for it that much. If they really don't like or complain about what they have here in this country, they need to take just a moment and stop and think and be thankful for all that we do have. I mean, we turn on the faucet, we have running water. Not all countries even have that.
That's right.
Things that we just every day completely take for granted here.
Mayor, it's always good to talk to you. I hope that you have a very restful winter.
Yes.
And when I say restful, that I find that probably inconsistent with your life, but thank you for all you do for our community, and thank you for everything that you bring to our community, your enthusiasm, your personality, and you inspire all of us.
Thank you.
And we're very fortunate to have this lady as our mayor. And we look forward to seeing you next time. Good night, and God bless.